You know the feeling. It's 2 a.m. You're not asleep. You're not really awake. You're lying in the dark, and the ceiling above you has become a screen. And on that screen, someone else's life is playing. It's not a nightmare. Nightmares are chaotic. This is something quieter and worse. This is the version of you that went to that college, said yes to that person, took that flight, didn't hesitate at the door. Feel that for a second, the specific pressure of lying completely flat, the way the mattress holds the shape of you. That slight tightness in your chest that isn't quite anxiety. It's closer to grief, because you're mourning someone who never died, someone who never even existed, and yet they feel more real than you do right now. That other you, the one who made the right call, the brave call. They don't haunt you the way ghosts do in movies. They don't rattle chains, they just live. Quietly, somewhere parallel to your actual life, and somehow, that is so much worse. Psychologists have a name for this. They call it counterfactual thinking. But that phrase is too clean, too clinical. It makes it sound like a spreadsheet. What this actually is a haunting. You are being haunted by yourself. And the terrifying part? You're the one keeping the ghost alive. Here's something that will make you feel both better and significantly worse at the same time. This is not your fault. Not entirely. The part of your brain that is obsessed with collecting options and terrified of spending them. That part is ancient. It is older than language, older than cities. It was built for a world that no longer exists. In the 1960s, two ecologists named MacArthur and Pienka developed something called optimal foraging theory. They were studying animals, how a fox decides which prey to chase, how a bee decides which flowers to visit. And what they found was this. Animals don't just hunt, they calculate. Every creature on the planet is running a constant cost-benefit analysis, energy spent versus energy gained. And the math is surprisingly elegant. The hawk on the wire isn't being lazy, it's being optimal. It's waiting for the prey that will return maximum energy for minimum effort. It's not committed to any single mouse. It's keeping its options open, because in nature, keeping your options open is survival. Now bring that hawk down from the wire, dress it in clothes, give it a smartphone, give it LinkedIn, Instagram, 3 unread emails from recruiters, a half-finished online course about Python, a note on its phone that says look into moving to Lisbon, and a browser tab with 47 open articles it will never read. Feel that blue light, that cold, flat glow that has replaced firelight and sunlight as the thing we stare into most. That light is the modern field. And you are the hawk, scanning, calculating, waiting for the optimal moment to commit. But here's where the ancient wiring breaks down completely. The hawk's field has maybe 30 mice in it. Your field has 30 million options, career paths, cities, partners, identities, subcultures, philosophies, and the brain, your brain, my brain, everyone's brain, was never designed to process that kind of abundance. It was designed for scarcity. When options are scarce, choosing is easy. You take what's available and you move. But when options are infinite, the brain does something fascinating and destructive. It treats choosing as the threat, because choosing means losing. Every yes is 1,000 silent no's, and the brain, that ancient survival machine, would rather keep everything than risk losing anything. Psychologist Barry Schwartz called this the paradox of choice. More options don't make us more free. They make us more anxious, more paralyzed, and in the end, less satisfied with whatever we eventually pick. Because the more options you had, the more convinced you are that the perfect option existed, and you probably missed it. But there's a layer beneath this that Schwartz didn't quite name. It's not just about the paralysis of choosing in the present. It's about the ghost it creates for the future. Every unchosen path doesn't disappear. It becomes a resident. It moves into your head and sets up furniture. The career you didn't take, the city you didn't move to, the relationship you talked yourself out of. They don't leave. They just become quieter over time, until 2 a.m., when the ceiling becomes a scream and they start playing again. You haven't been failing to decide. You've been collecting, hoarding possible selves like they're assets that will appreciate over time. But here's the thing about a self you never inhabit. It doesn't appreciate, it haunts. We need to talk about the phone, not in the way you've heard before. Not the screen time bad, go outside lecture. That conversation is over and it didn't work on anyone. No, I want to talk about something more specific and more disturbing. Social media is not a highlight reel. You've heard that. Everyone says it. Oh, people only post the good stuff. Sure, but that framing misses the real violence of the thing. Because a highlight reel is still just a reel. It's footage. It's inert. What social media actually is a graveyard. Every profile you follow is a tombstone for a version of yourself you decided not to become. The friend who moved to Berlin and posts photos of cobblestone streets and strange gallery openings. That's the tombstone for the you who was brave enough to move. The colleague who started the company. The you who believed in yourself enough to begin. The ex who looks inexplicably happy. The you who stayed or left or said the thing you didn't say. You are scrolling through a graveyard of your own unchosen lives. And you are doing it voluntarily, every day. First thing in the morning. Sometimes, before you've even fully opened your eyes, feel the weight of the phone in that position. Arm slightly strained, held overhead. That mild burn in the shoulder you ignore. That is the physical sensation of consuming something that does not nourish you. Your arm knows it. Your body registers it. Only the scrolling mind refuses to stop. But here's what makes this genuinely sinister. And I want you to stay with this because this is the part nobody says. The algorithm is not showing you the world. The algorithm is showing you a mirror. A specifically distorted mirror, curved and angled to show you exactly what will keep you most emotionally activated and what keeps you most emotionally activated. Other versions of yourself, not celebrities, not strangers, not abstract beauty. The people who went to your school, who had your same starting point, who sat in the same classrooms and breathed the same air, and then made different choices. The algorithm has learned with terrifying precision that the gap between where you are and where someone like you could be, that gap is the most potent drug in the world. The philosopher René Girard spent his entire career on one idea, that human desire is not original. We don't want things because we inherently want them. We want things because we see that someone else wants them, or has become them. He called it mimetic desire. Desire by imitation. Desire by mirror. And what is your Instagram feed if not the most sophisticated mimetic desire machine ever constructed? You are not browsing, you are being shown what to want. And what you are being shown to want, systematically, is a life you are not living. The ghost of you gets fed every time you open the app. Every scroll is a seance. You are actively summoning the unchosen self, giving it form, letting it grow more vivid and more damning, and then wondering why you feel hollow when you put the phone down. The hall of mirrors doesn't just distort your image, it multiplies it. And somewhere in that multiplication, you lose track of which reflection is actually you. So, what do we do with the ghost? You cannot kill it with productivity. You cannot schedule it away. You cannot outrun it with a morning routine or silence it with a meditation app because the ghost is not a habit problem. It is a philosophical problem, and it requires a philosophical answer. Here it is, and I want to say it plainly. Without wrapping it in comfort, to live one life fully, you have to be willing to let the others die. Not postpone them. Not put them on hold. Not I'll get to them eventually. Die. Gone. Mourned and buried and let go. Feel what it would feel like to actually set something down and not pick it back up. Not dramatically. Just put it down. The relief in the hand. The strange grief of it. Both at once. The philosopher Søren Kierkegaard, a man who was himself paralyzed by choice for most of his life, who broke off his own engagement because he was terrified of limitation, wrote that despair is not the result of suffering. Despair is the result of refusing to become yourself, of staying in the possible because the possible feels infinite and the actual feels like a cage. But here's what Kierkegaard understood that the algorithm will never show you. The actual is not a cage. The actual is the only place where anything real can happen. Think about the last time you were completely absorbed in something real. Not scrolling, not planning, not imagining a version of yourself doing something. Actually doing it. The way time disappears. The way the room seems to sharpen. The way your body is involved, the resistance of the dough, the click of the lens, the scratch of the pen, that absorption, that is what the ghost cannot access, because the ghost lives only in the possible. It cannot feel anything. It cannot make anything. It cannot be surprised, or fail, or laugh unexpectedly, or change its mind. The ghost is perfect precisely because it has never done anything. You are imperfect because you have actually lived. And that imperfection, that history of misses and pivots and embarrassing choices and unexpected loves, that is not evidence of a life gone wrong. That is the texture of a life that is real. The philosopher Simone Weil wrote that attention is the purest form of love, not the dramatic, cinematic kind, but the quiet, sustained act of actually looking at what is in front of you, your actual room, your actual morning, your actual face in the mirror, not the imagined face of the ghost, but your face. With its specific history written into it, limitation is not the enemy of a meaningful life. Limitation is the condition of it. A song with no structure is just noise. A story with no constraint is just drift. A life with no commitment is, and I mean this precisely, a haunting. You end up being the ghost. The exorcism is not dramatic. It's not a decision you make once and frame on a wall. It is a daily, unglamorous practice of choosing your actual life over your imagined ones. It is closing a browser tab. It is calling the person instead of drafting the email you'll never send. It is beginning the thing badly, imperfectly, without the ideal conditions you've been waiting for. The ghost version of you has no scars, no embarrassing memories, no 2 a.m. ceilings, no weight in the shoulder from holding the phone too long. The ghost is frictionless. And friction, the actual physical resistance of living an actual life, is the only proof that you exist. You don't need to become a better version of yourself. You need to become more of yourself, more committed to the life that is actually happening in the actual room you're sitting in, with the actual people who know your actual name. The ghost is waiting for perfect conditions. You can start now. Put the phone down just for a minute. See what's in the room.